And we're live
Woo!
tonight. Woo! Hell yeah. Tonight I am continuing what I started the other night. I had the idea a while back to ask some real life friends that I've managed to meet in person. I've wanted them to come onto the stream here lately and give us their thoughts on things. Tonight, I have a really good friend who I've managed to meet once. Back in the fall of last year, he invited me up to his family's farm. And I went up there and spent the day, had an outstanding time. It's some of the most beautiful land that I've seen. It's a part of the state that I've never been to. And it's really, truly picturesque there. His family raises show horses, they're into the equestrian arts. And without any further ado, this is my good friend Whocifer. How you doing tonight, Whocifer? You want to
What's
introduce yourself to us?
what's up, brother? How
Not
goes
much,
it?
brother. It's going good, man. Eager to hear your thoughts on things. You want to introduce yourself? Let people know more about yourself.
I mean, I ain't nobody, honestly. Like, just
Shit,
some guy.
I don't want to hear that shit, brother. You ain't some guy.
I mean, I lurk, and I'm cool with people, but I'm not like some name or nothing. You know what I mean?
Oh hell yeah, you are. You just don't know it yet, bro.
Oh boy, that's actually worrisome.
I'm just fucking with you. I'm just fucking with you. But
Oh man,
tonight's
Am I-
stream. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, you go ahead. My bad.
No, no, no. You go ahead.
Oh no, I insist.
Oh, okay. Well, I was gonna say, the topic of tonight's stream is me and Whocifer have only spoken about this a little bit, and to be honest, the way I look at it, tonight the show is about Whocifer. I want to get his thoughts on this subject. He has some. We've managed to conversate a bit the last few days over it. We've not been able to talk on the phone due to technical issues and stuff, but we've managed to voice message each other. And honestly, I am in. This is sort of a surprise for me. I want to hear his ideas. I want to hear him flesh them out, and I'm interested in seeing what he's got to say. So for the chat, everybody that's managed to make it here, this is I'm just sitting here and listening with you guys. So Whocifer, if you want to get started, the floor is yours.
Well, let me preface this by saying, like, I don't have it completely fleshed out either. What I have is more of an inkling of a direction, I guess is probably the best way to put it. And uh, in fact, you know what? You asked me to introduce myself. I will give a little bit of backstory
Yeah, go
because
ahead. Tell us. Tell
that
us
kind
how
of
you.
helps explain how I got to where I'm at right now. So, I got red pilled by some people back in the day about 2.5 years ago, something like that now. And I met John Fashcroft through the streams and stuff, and that kind of sent me down the right path. I'm glad I ran into him because there's a lot of fucked up people out there that are going in the wrong direction, right?
Yeah,
And
love you, John.
for a long time, I was like trying to figure out what to do, where to go, blah blah blah. And throughout this 2 year journey of mine, I've learned a thing or two, and because I've talked to a lot of people and listened to a lot of people, and what I've wanted to talk about tonight has a lot to do with little bits of things that I've heard from everybody. It's almost like the little parable about the blind men that are like feeling up the elephant, and everybody's trying to say, oh, it's a hose pipe because one's feeling the trunk or whatever, and somebody else is saying it's something else because they're feeling the backside, like all that junk.
Yeah, that
You
was
know?
that was a really good metaphor. I really liked how you put that the other night when we were talking.
Right on. Thank you. But yeah, it seems like to me that almost everybody has a little bit of knowledge that helped me kind of come to this conclusion. And I'm also going to preface this by saying, like, I honestly don't believe it's super profound, and I don't I think a lot of people spend too much time trying to reinvent the wheel and waste a lot of time discussing things that really should be common sense.
Oh,
And
sorry. Damn
huh?
it. I'm sorry, dude. I had to. It was my fault. My fault. I
What
got.
happened?
I pulled up the YouTube page and I didn't have it muted, so I apologize for that. I didn't mean to throw you off there, brother.
I don't even know what happened.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm.
What
I'm a.
happened?
I'm a retard. I pulled up the. See, I've got the StreamYard page up,
Yeah,
and then I've also on another window. I've got the YouTube page up.
right.
And normally, I have the YouTube page muted, so because if you don't, it echoes and it plays. There's a delay.
Oh, it's been doing the double stuff or whatever.
Yeah, that was my bad. I fixed it though. You should be good now.
All right, cool.
Sorry about that.
Well, hell, maybe I'll kind of start over anyway because I'm still kind of like collecting my thoughts, because it kind of comes and goes at times. And honestly, like being on stream and feeling like I need to say something as opposed to when I've called in at times and just shot the shit with people, it's actually kind of put me on the spot.
Yeah,
But anyway, uh, I'll just summarize it all by saying this. I don't think what I'm trying to say tonight is anything super profound or like revolutionary necessarily or even new, but it's more of what is to me, and a lot of people may have already come to this realization, this conclusion, already working in this direction. But for me, for a long time, I felt like everybody was treading water and nobody knew which way to go, and everybody was casting out looking for a leader or looking for this or looking for that, and everybody was like following all these different cults of personality and all these other things, right? And getting
yeah,
caught up in all kinds of nonsense, honestly, right?
yeah,
And most of it is centered around this stupid fucking debate of optics, right? Like the optics debate has been the most ridiculous thing that I've ever experienced in my life. Like it seems to be the overarching thing that permeates every single fucking group that I've ever like come into contact in this thing, or whenever you talk to anybody, they want to bring up some aspect of this debate, and the debate is always framed in the same way. Okay.
yeah,
And the way I see it is that this fucking optics debate is bullshit, right? And it's not that optics themselves are bullshit, and I'll get into why here in a minute.
okay,
But what is bullshit is the fact that it's been framed in a false way, right? So it's been framed as like the America First people. Their motto, or not their motto, but their modus operandi has been to try to appease people, to persuade them to join our cause, to like seduce them or trick them in some way, to act very uh goblin-y or something, I guess you'd say. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Very Semitic. And that's
yeah,
how I feel about that approach. And I don't think that it is an approach that our people, for one, naturally gravitate to or even respect. And then
yeah,
two, it's not our way of operating anyway. So it's unnatural in a sense. And so, and then for three, you can't outdo them at what they do best. That's just not the way we're built. It's the way they're built. And to me personally, like I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't want to be like that because personally, I feel like our upfront, direct, honest approach is a lot more honorable.
oh yeah. I mean, I'll interject here real quickly.
Anytime, brother, just
Oh,
jump in whenever. It helps me actually.
oh yeah. I mean, yeah. It's tough. Doing all the talking. I ain't gonna leave you. I ain't gonna leave you stranded, brother.
Hell yeah.
But I was just gonna throw into America First. Fuentes and all that crowd. Somehow that's always thrown up as some sort of representation of what we try to do of white racialism or white nationalism, you could say, when it's completely. I mean, if you listen, and I mean, look at the actions. America First is a genuinely dysgenic movement. I mean, look at the people that Look at the people that are in that fucking movement.
Right.
It's like Kalergi's wet dream or some shit.
Right.
And I mean, this is also a movement too that celebrates being an incel. It celebrates not getting laid. It
Dude.
vilifies women.
Oh, dude. Don't get me started.
I mean, it's you know, I mean, I think it's just a travesty, that they're classified, they're lumped into, I guess what you could say is the dissident right. I don't consider, I just consider them a bunch of, retarded incels, unfortunately. But anyways, what was you going on? What I'll allow you to
Well,
continue.
I was going to interject, but I want to let you finish your thought. What I was going to say, man, is uh, I kind of look at the groypers, like the average groyper, as kind of like the same way I do Catholics. And nothing against anybody who's Catholic out there that might be listening. I don't have any problems with a person who is Catholic. What I have problems with is what I see as a power structure who is leading people astray with something good and using their belief in that good thing to create a bunch of wickedness essentially and like turn people away from the right path, right? And
Yeah.
that's how I look at America First. And what I see is a and I don't really want to shit talk them too much just because I really just don't want to hear any flack about it, honestly. But
Fuck them. Fuck them
right.
all.
But this whole
Nobody.
thing,
I was gonna say nobody watches my shit anyway. So,
hell yeah.
but
Uh,
go ahead. Go
so,
ahead.
so you've got Fuentes, right? And this dude has backpedaled on every single like stance he ever had, and he even said, I seen a Twitter thing that one time he said he wasn't even white. He admitted he was Mexican. Now, to be fair, I don't know if that's 100% true, and I will add that because I didn't like research it or anything. It could have been one of those like jokes or something, but
You know,
it wouldn't surprise me because like that's the level of backpedaling this dude has done, and he is legit not legit white, right? So
I would say he was more of a, what do they call them? If
yeah,
he's Mexican, a
Castillo,
castizo. Yeah, they kind of like the upper class of Mexican society that retained a lot of their, well,
white
some of their
characteristic.
European characteristics. Yeah, exactly, exactly. But anyways,
And what I see is him taking and using optics and reframing the debate as well, actually, you know what? I kind of want to take my time and work my way around back to that point, honestly.
okay,
So, but what I was going to say is that I don't have any problem with the regular groyper. The average groyper to me is just some kid typically, who would naturally be on our side, who would naturally be taking up National Socialism and doing something good for himself and his community and the people around him, and adopting those values and not shitting on every single thing that National Socialism and the people who birthed it and everyone who sacrificed to for that ideology, has achieved, not shitting on it at every turn, right? And
yeah,
really, all these people, they're like lost sheep. They would naturally be on our side if it wasn't for this dude over here, like taking all these. He's like some fucking evil shepherd, the Pied Piper or something, leading all the rats into the river, right? Like
yeah,
that's what he is. Because if you look at their rhetoric now, like what they're talking about, uh, Nick and Beardson, they had this little like mantra that they were doing, saying something about like, yeah, I'm a incel doomer freak, something, something, something. Like it was like six different things or whatever. But it was basically like, making the gropers like the most disgusting pieces of shit in society. Like, guaranteeing they will never have friends, guaranteeing they will never have a woman, guaranteeing they will never have children, guaranteeing that the white race will not continue on because none of those other things happen because they fell into this ideology of like death. Honestly, like
yeah.
really, really,
It's a death cult. I mean, really, there's no other way to explain it. It's the same trap. It seems like that happens. Conservatism. Me and you, we've talked before. We both, used to be what we would consider, pretty conservative. We were raised in a conservative type household.
Right.
Um, you know, the America First is like repackaged and rebranded, conservatism with a little bit more of a civic nationalist flair added to it.
Right.
I think it's what some of the chat here is saying is true. They're attracting these young men who are alienated from society. They see a lot of they see the same problems that we do, but it's diverting their attention, and it's a big grift. I mean, what is it? I've read before somewhere. Fuentes, he makes a lot of money.
Oh
You know,
yeah, it's a
he makes
million dollar organization now.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd read a while back like he makes $4,000 a stream. I mean,
Yeah, I'm
that's
not
that's
surprised.
that's that's fucking insane. I mean,
Right.
but anyways, it's just a movement. It seems like to confound and to deflect. To take people's attention away from the true issues.
Right. Whatever it originally started out as, because um, I don't know how popular this opinion is, but I really do think that during the Groiper Wars, that they were sincere, like they were actually trying to build something, but that especially after January 6th, and you can see it in watching Nick's streams over time, like he started saying a lot of really creepy and a lot of really weird things, and it's been happening more and more, and
It's probably
like
probably
it,
compromised in some sort of fashion.
I
I mean,
guarantee he is. There's no doubt in my mind because everything that they are pushing now is insane, and it's anti-white. It's anti even the people that fall into the trap of America First, and it's just insanity, and
it is.
it's just poison. It's mental poison. But my point was though is like these kids should naturally like be on our side. They see the same things we do, like you said, and they feel the same ways about them. They've just been lied to and told that, oh well, if you play nice with people, we can get what we want, but we can't play ball with them because we'll never win by their rules, right?
Yeah, that's how I look at it. Absolutely.
And but when I say that, I'm also like not advocating for violence as a first option for sure, right?
Oh
And
yeah, yeah,
this is kind of where I'm getting to the point of what I was wanting to say is this whole optics debate, right?
yeah,
So it, like I said before, it's been framed as this appeasement of the normies, right, to try to trick them into thinking they're voting for an average Republican who turns out to be, the next Uncle A or something. And it's just never going to happen for a multitude of reasons, right?
yeah,
But like I said before, their principles and their way of going about it are nothing like we would expect. But it has also engendered, for some reason, a completely opposite effect. Like instead of everyone going, you know what, maybe there was some truth to something about the optics. We just kind of overreacted and overcorrected by going full bore the opposite direction, or maybe even people were pushing it. I don't know because I wasn't around for all that, right?
yeah.
But I do know that, like, I've come to the conclusion that optics are good. Okay, but this is what I mean by optics because when I've started telling a few people about this, and what I always start out with is like when I say optics, I don't have the same idea in mind as what
What
most
they
people have as optics.
Okay.
And like everyone seems to have this preconceived notion about what optics is because the way the debate's been framed, right?
Yeah,
And so you've got a bunch of people that for some reason think, okay, well, there's no political solution, and there is and there isn't. And this is what I'm trying to say is that if we start using optics to our benefit, we can still win a different victory that will ensure the the overcorrection. Should that be the way to go? It will ensure that victory. Okay, and what I'm suggesting is this. When I say optics, what I mean is being presentable, being professional, being serious, being people of character, going out into the world, and when you espouse our values, you back it up with uh, goodness and decency, right? And
Yeah.
so instead of what they think of optics as being, like you can't say this or that, like you can't say the Jews are bad, you can't say that Hitler was right, you can't say the Nazis were good people, you can't deny the Holocaust. I disagree with all of that, and I don't think any of that has anything to do with optics, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, when I say optics, I strictly mean the way we present our ideas, right? Because there's nothing wrong with our ideals or our ideas. What is wrong is the way we've been going about presenting them in a lot of cases. I'm not saying everybody all the time, but I am saying that a lot of people have kind of, like I said, overcorrected or, not thought about the thing in the whole light, like not stepped back and seen the whole picture and really wondered about it. You have some people that kind of like got a little grasp of it, right? Like say Patrick Little, right? So he was dressing up in a suit and he was going on his jaywalks, right? Like
Yeah.
to me, that's like supreme optics right there, because he dressed up like he was serious and he went around telling the truth, and nothing he said was a lie. Nothing he said was like grossly hateful. It was all just the truth, right? Like
Yeah.
he didn't need to demonize anybody. He didn't need to hate on anybody. All he did was had to say the truth, and everyone else came to their own conclusions on their own. And that's what it's all about to me, is that the people who have the eyes to see the truth will seek it out and figure out what it is. And the people who don't will never get our message and never give a fuck either way, regardless of how much you appease to them. You can never give them enough ground to make them happy enough to join your side and make them like you. It's just
Yeah.
not ever going to work, right? And
I
so,
think that's.
go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that's a hang up or a problem that a lot of people have. Not just in this thing, but altogether. People want to vie and want to attain, universal popularity. Universal popularity will never, it's just never going to happen. I
No,
mean,
it's a sham.
you
You can't
you
appease everybody.
you will always have enemies. And I mean, if you don't have any, well, I'm sure that if
You
you
ain't
keep
doing
doing,
something right.
yeah, and I mean, and if they ain't showed up yet, they will show up in the future. You can guarantee that.
Right.
But anyways, continue. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, no, anytime, bro. For real. Seriously, it helps me out.
Oh yeah,
Um, but yeah, like I was saying, when it comes to our presentation out there, whenever we have anybody going out there and trying to spread our message, right? Um, they need to go out there, and you can even do it masked up. Like I don't see any problem with that. But go out and dress nicely. I'm not saying you have to have a suit. I'm not saying you have to have a tie. I'm not saying you have to have any of these kinds of things. But take what you do have and take the nicest of what you have and make sure it's clean, well kempt, ironed. Make sure you look presentable. Like your hair's not all fucking crazy and fucking you look like a hobo or something. Like you've
yeah,
showered, and don't be just screaming profanities and like hateful shit out all over the place. Just speak the truth. The truth is literally all we need, because the truth will hang them on their own. We don't need all the extra rhetoric that we honestly feel inside. That everyone wants to like express that because of how strongly we feel it, but it really doesn't help the cause. It just allows them, the enemies, to like take advantage of us, honestly. So if we just go out there and speak the truth when we speak about things, that's going to do a lot more damage than anything else. And also, if we become good National Socialists, like we say we want to be or say we are, then we should be attuning our bodies, making them healthier. We need to be becoming more well read, more well spoken. We need to start investing a lot more time in ourselves and our spiritual like presence, right? So like you need to be constantly trying to improve yourself. Like, isn't that what National Socialism is about? Like
yeah,
protecting the race and improving it and like constantly being better and better, like with the generations to come, and excelling more and more, right? Like we aspire to things, and it seems like the race is almost given up in a lot of places. And I really think it has a lot to do with the subversion and everything. But at some point we do have to take some sort of responsibility and start actually working against it in our own lives, right?
Yes.
And this is all I'm saying with optics, man. Like it's just real simple. It's just be what you say you are, and do what you say you're going to do, and just be good people. Go out in your community and help people. Like, go to a soup kitchen or fucking clean the highway with some folks or anything. Like start an active club, start working out with people, and just talk to them. Just be a normal, decent person, and then people will like look past all the bullshit they try to throw at us, and they will realize that like, hey, like all these things you're saying about these people are completely untrue, and all I ever see out of them is good. Like, and that's
Yeah.
what's really going to turn people. And I honestly believe that if throughout the entire country and throughout the world, if we had if everyone started adopting this mentality and like being 100% serious about it and striving as much as they can to achieve those goals personally and present themselves in that way to the world, be good law abiding citizens in every way possible, without going and being bootlickers, obviously, you know what I'm saying? Like the obvious stuff, right?
Yeah.
So if we go out and do all these things and we are people above reproach in our communities, then when they attack us in the media, they have no leg to stand on, and everyone will see through it. And then eventually, like that snowball is going to be massive, right? And it's this little change that happens in the people throughout everywhere at all times that really I think is going to make the difference. Our people were subverted over time, slowly chipping away at our like spirit and everything. The only way to turn the tide is to rebuild what was destroyed, and we can't get there by living their lifestyle, by buying into their system and all of these things. And I don't think that I really don't harbor any delusions about like, yeah, we're gonna just like create this snowball effect and everybody's just gonna wake up one day and vote National Socialist. No, I don't believe that shit at all. But what I am saying is that when they do come to completely remove our ability to assemble peacefully and lawfully, we will already have the people on our side if we do these things. And then with our people on our side, the way is paved for victory, in my opinion.
Some very good points you bring up there. Absolutely. I agree with it. Um, let's see. Uh, that's interesting what you brought up about optics. This was a interesting perspective. Um, I can say myself, I have never had a lot of stock in the term optics, but it's like you
Nor I.
said. It's
That's
like
why I've wanted to say all this. I'm sorry for interrupting, but I'm
no,
just
go
wanting
ahead.
to say all this because I feel like optics could have been something good and it's just been tainted. And now everyone has this horrible idea of it. And now any type of trying to do good or look good is now termed bad and like the opposite of what we should do. And now people are going the wrong way, trying to overcorrect or following people who were just trying to spite the people who subverted optics. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, bro. Go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. Um, I was gonna say I've lost my train of thought. It's
Oh
been a
man,
long
my
day.
bad, my
No, you're
bad.
good. You're good. You're good.
I feel like a
It will
dick.
come. No, it's good. It'll come back to me. Um,
Oh, you were saying optics,
oh
like
yeah, yeah,
people.
yeah. Exactly. It came back to me. Optics. I've never been much for the term, but I did look at it at how how the term has been framed. How you mentioned earlier in the stream, you said that the debate has been sort of twisted in a way. Um, I'm not a big fan of optics, but I mean the way you present it here, it's something that is definitely, I think, worth considering. Um, you know what you said, about being presentable and stuff. I have to admit, I think there's only been three occasions my entire life where I actually wore a suit somewhere.
Me
I,
too, bro. Me too.
I don't even own a suit, unfortunately. My
Same here.
my hair is longer than it's ever been, and I need to. I probably need to get a haircut here soon, so I'm probably not the person. And plus, I cuss too fucking much. I can't help it. I've got a foul fucking mouth. I've had a foul mouth since I was a kid. Except when I was a kid, I would sneak and cuss because if my parents heard me do it, they'd slap me on the mouth. But
Right.
I mean, I do understand what you're saying. You do. I think you do need people that are good at presenting
well,
things like
well,
this.
well, let me level with you, bro.
Yeah.
I'll be 100% honest with you right here and say that I am probably guiltier than anybody else of not living up to those exact same things that I just talked about. Like, it just kind of hit me one day, like that's probably the answer, and it, I'm not doing what I should be, to be real. Like, I'm failing in so many ways. And like, if I rose up to the standard that I would like to hold myself to, and the standard I believe I can rise to, things could be so much better, I think. And I'm the first one to tell you that I'm just as guilty as anybody else. But I also think too that you don't have to be this like cookie cutter fucking person to go out there and represent our people, but rather you be the best version of yourself, and you go represent that to the people that will respond in kind to you, right? You want to be the
Yeah.
person that everyone looks to as a leader, as an example. Is like, that guy, he may not have this or that, or he may not do this or that, or he may cuss a little bit, or he may drink some or something like that, but you know what? He's got something that I want, right? It's just something intangible, and that's how they'll kind of
Yeah.
look at it, and they'll start
It's
wanting to.
it's character. It's
Yeah,
character.
exactly. That's
I've
exactly what I'm talking about.
I've been talking to an interesting guy that I hope to have on here soon. My friend Alan, and me and him, we've hell, I talked to him for about an hour earlier today on the way back from work.
Hell yeah.
But man, he often brings up, he's an older guy. He's in, I ain't gonna tell. He's older than I am, and I'm getting old. I'll just go ahead and admit. But
We all are.
he, yeah, that is true. But he said that one of the biggest things that is plaguing the dissident right, or even white knight, whatever it is, there's so many different names and
Whatever this
categories.
thing is.
Yeah, is a lack of character.
Definitely.
People. It's what you said earlier. About optics. What you said earlier really struck a chord with me. Is just doing what you say you will do. I mean, saying what you mean and doing what you say you will do.
Right.
That is something, that it's it seems like we lack, there's a lack
Right.
of character sometimes, I mean, and it afflicts all of us, I mean, it happens to me, it's like you were just saying earlier, you have your struggles, I have my struggles. One thing that's been gnawing at me lately is, just wanting to live rurally, I mean, I like where I'm at right now. We've got an acre of land here, but I've always looked at it like that if I can't take a piss off my front porch without worrying that the neighbors are going to see me, you know, if that's the case, I live too close to other people.
Are
That's
you really
something,
living if you can't piss off your front porch? I mean, come on.
dude. You're not, man. I mean, I don't know how many times I did that back at the house. I
That's how I
parked right in
live.
front of them. You've got it figured out up there, though, man. I'm extremely jealous. Of what you got going on up there. That's some beautiful land and stuff. But
Thank you, man. Well, I can't take credit for it. It's all family stuff.
still, man, still, that's awesome that you're there and that you're helping them. But yeah, it's like you said, a lack, and Alan also has said, there's a lack of character. People, sometimes you have to wonder how committed a lot of people are to these things, to this
Right.
ideal. Um, it seems like a lot of times Hugo the pork eater says, "I'm pissing off my porch right now."
Hell
Hell
yeah.
yeah,
My man.
hell yeah, bro. Don't shake it more than twice, dude, or you're playing with it. As they say. But yeah. Let's see. Is there any other ideas, any other thoughts you had on this Whocifer, on
Oh
the
yeah,
topic
man.
of optics? If you want to
Yeah,
continue.
I've got more stuff. I mean, so like I'll also kind of like justify it in a way too, right? So if you look at the way things have been with this idea, right? Like it's kind of ignored in a lot of ways. Most people don't even realize it, or if they do, uh, there are very few people that seem to, at least in my opinion, from what I've seen, right? And I see a lot of people who, honestly, I think are so in love with the idea of running and gunning out in the woods and living wild and free and dying in battle and going to Valhalla, that I think that a lot of that's become a LARP, and that a lot of people have become more invested in trying to make that happen than actually trying to do things the right way. Right. I feel like a lot of people, and to be honest with you, I'm in that camp of people that, you know, to me that sounds like paradise, honestly, in its own fucked up way, right? But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that I agree and sympathize to a point with that mentality, but I also think that to a large degree it's fantasy, right? I honestly don't believe that things are going to fall apart in our time that will make that possible. It is possible, you know. I don't know the future, and I'm bad at guessing it. So hell, it may happen
Man,
tomorrow.
that's a good point you bring up there, man. 2 years ago, I was, I would consider myself thinking, oh God, the collapse is coming. This is when the coronavirus was coming out. There was
Right,
all this air of mystery regarding
right.
that. And I mean, there was people that I would watch online, people's opinions, and they were talking about this and that happening, and I was like, oh man, this is it. This is the fucking collapse.
It's
This is what
coming.
we. It's here, by God. We're on the precipice. We're on the
Right.
precipice of the collapse.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah, but man, that's something. What you said right there. Over time, I've come to see it. Civilization is much more resilient than I think a lot of people give it credit for. Unfortunately, you know, I think you know I think what we're going to see. I don't. I've quit. Looking at it like hoping for the collapse because I mean there's really nothing. Just, I'm just basically a speck of sand. In a just one speck of sand. It's just an atom in the universe, just one person. I can't, initiate anything like this. But I look at it that I think what we're going to witness is, this continued and slow degradation, of society, of everything. We're in the decline, and I don't know if the collapse is coming. I think we should be ready.
Oh,
You know,
100%. 100%, without a doubt. But
yeah,
by no means am I saying do not prepare, do not be ready at every moment. Do not take steps to
safeguard
survive should it happen tomorrow, right?
to
But
hedge.
what I'm
Yeah, to hedge your bets. Go ahead. Go ahead.
right, all I'm saying is just don't be hoping for it and don't be pushing it as the only way forward, right? Like there are other options we need to pursue and that also have validity, right? And there were a couple things I wanted to say about that, but I'd like to hear what you got to say. Let's finish your
Okay.
thought first.
Oh no, what I was going to say, I'd finished my thoughts. I don't think it's good for us to, look to the collapse as some sort of, savior event. I think that's a pro. I was actually going to make a video about this tomorrow.
Oh
Is
wow.
this savior? It seems like a lot of our guys have this. We want a savior. We need a leader. We have. That Austrian artist. Been a variety. There was William Luther Pierce, George Lincoln Rockwell. There's we all we all are looking for a strong leader, but it seems like I think people, that's something that I might some people you may disagree with me, some other people may disagree. People talk about collectivizing versus individualism, and in some ways, I think it's a false dichotomy. The way I approach it and what I try to do is I just look at it that each, like you said earlier, each of us needs to try to be the best possible version of ourselves that we can be. That doesn't mean, to ignore your brothers or your sisters. You need to uplift people around them
At every turn.
at every turn you can. But I mean, at the end of the day, you've got to look out for yourself first. I mean, that's
Yeah,
just
because if you don't, you can't look out for anybody else, right?
exactly, I mean, and that's something I think we need to learn. I mean, if you don't have any willpower and you have no ability to control yourself, which I mean, everybody might lose control of themselves at various times. It happens. But, how can we expect to project power to, to encourage change in the world if we can't even, master ourselves? There was this really good saying that I remember seeing Thomas Sowell. I'm not sure how you pronounce his
I
name,
would
but
say
he,
Sewell. I think Thomas Sowell's the black guy.
yeah, that you're probably correct. Thomas Sewell. Okay. The
I don't know though.
Australian.
Don't quote me on that.
Man, I'm a hillbilly. I can't pronounce shit anyway.
Same here.
Always. But he had posted something on Telegram maybe a couple of months ago. He was talking about when he was a young man. It was from some guy's perspective speaking. He said, "When I was a young man, I wanted to change the world. But as he got older, he realized he was just a small part. He just wanted to try to change his family. But as he got even older, he realized that in some ways he couldn't even do that. And he was wanted to be able to change himself. And then it said it was really beautiful, I think. And at the end, he said, if I realized that I could just change myself early on, that the change would go outwards. And I think that's one of the things I like to try to focus on is to help, the individual person to become better, to ascend. And that's something that I really liked about William Luther Pierce's National Alliance. In his in his own words, he said that the National Alliance wasn't necessary. It wasn't even a political group. What he said it was is that it was this thing to try to change how the Aryan man and woman thinks about themselves and views the world. He had this idea of wanting to restore what could be called, that creative Hyperborean soul and the solar aristocratic character. He wanted us to rediscover ourselves because once we do that, I believe, the other things will take care of themselves. I'm optimistic in that regard, at least.
Well, that's actually pretty profound. That idea, right? Of you can't help anyone else out until you help yourself, and that you have to change yourself to change the world, and that all change begins at that point, right?
Yeah,
You can't go running out there, and there's so many different like wise men and holy teachers and all this stuff. They've said the same thing in different ways, right? But they
yeah,
basically have all said that, and honestly, like it's very, very true, right? And
yeah,
so, like, even sitting here talking to you about this, I guess, revelation that I've had,
yeah,
it's really not all that profound, honestly, because I've not changed myself first, right? Like, I can go and tell everybody else in the world, like, yeah, I stumbled upon a revelation that, like, really meant something. And if we all just did this, and everyone thinks, like, if we all just did X, if we all just did Y, well, yeah, well, if everybody did everything all at the same time in the same way, then we wouldn't have no problems, right? But so, like, but if I changed myself, then that would matter a lot more. And that's honestly what I'm trying to do now upon reaching this revelation. But part of the
yeah,
reason why I wanted to like talk about this too, though, is because for a long time, despite having a lot of friends online that I feel very close to and I have a lot of respect for and mean a lot to me, despite that, there's always this loneliness because I was alone all the time and I lost a lot of my real friends. In fact, I didn't have nobody around that thought the way I do. And there was nobody that really sympathized or even wanted to have anything to do with me after they found out. And
yeah.
so it was a real lonely place. And so I finally like I was getting frustrated with the internet because all I would see was just a bunch of people sitting around bitching and being blackpilled and infighting and all
Dude,
this just
absolutely.
negativity. Like, go ahead.
Absolutely. I was going to say, man, that's something that I've struggled with sometimes here lately is, uh, it just seems like a lot of times, a lot of this stuff is just noise. It's just static, people bitching at each other. Which group is better? Which which what? I mean, it's just back and forth.
Right.
Just sometimes it's e-drama, and I think it's important for us to have balance. I think there's really a thing called a right wing bug man. I've heard Pat and his guys say this before. It's we a lot of people on our side can fall into this trap. We're all longing for a sense of community.
Real quick, man,
Oh, go
I
ahead.
don't mess up your flow. What's a bug man? I've seen the meme
Oh,
around a little bit, but I don't really understand it.
oh, it's okay, man. It's okay. A bug man is what I would consider your urban. Have you ever seen the memes of the guys that were holding the Beyond KFC chicken? Like they had these pieces of
Oh
fried.
yeah, the soy boy things that
Yeah,
they did.
a
Okay.
bug man. A bug man is a soy boy that just lives to consume. We often make fun of
Oh, so they're
the
like robots of the system
yeah.
or something. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
and they just live to consume. Like, I like to make fun of people that just sit around and watch Marvel, look forward to the next Marvel comic book movie or
Oh,
whatever
dude, it's
super
so gross. I
whatever
can't
gay
stand
cape
it.
shit. Yeah. But then, I mean, I think there is sometimes, some of our guys fall into this trap of, letting online culture consume them. I mean, we got to strike a balance. I think people fall into the habit of, they consume content, react to content, and then repeat. It's just people just get caught up with. It's like a soap opera. I hate to say it, it's a
Right,
soap opera.
right.
And I was gonna say,
I'm sorry.
oh no, you're good, dude. Um, I was gonna say that here lately, that's something I've been wrestling with because I know it was this past winter. I spent a lot of time online, and I spent a lot of time reading. I read several good books over the winter, and I remember it was a couple of months ago. I was setting. Miranda was wanting me to do something, and I was sitting on the. I was just sitting on the couch on the laptop reading something, and she's like, God damn it, Dave, you're becoming the thing that you bitch about the most in your fucking videos. You're just sitting on the fucking internet all day. You ain't doing nothing. And at first I was like, what the fuck did you just say? And then I caught myself, and it stung. I have to admit, it kind of stung what she said because she was right. And I
Man,
caught myself, and I'm just like, wow, you're right. So I was like, okay, I'm putting the laptop down. I'll take the dog for a walk. I'll do this and I'll do that. You know, Now thankfully it's springtime. I've got stuff out in the garden I can do. I've been doing a lot of fishing here lately, and
awesome.
so Didymus Sumi did said Miranda is brutal. She can be. She is redheaded, and
Hey,
redheads have horrible tempers sometimes.
I
Anyway,
can attest to that, and I totally agree. And they're some of the best ever. But also, like, she is definitely a good woman because she set you straight and brought you out of your shit.
oh yeah,
And that is truly a treasure. You are a lucky man.
I'm really really lucky. I mean, if anybody here would have seen me 5 years ago, you wouldn't have recognized me. But anyways, you know, I think our guys need to. We just got to strike a balance. It's important to read. It's important to research, but you got to, do like you had mentioned earlier. Go out and work out. Meet up with people in your community. And I mean, I try to whenever I'm out in public, I will talk to. I like to talk to a lot of older people, even elderly people.
Oh yeah, they get the best shit to say.
Dude, they really are. I can't. Rockstar of Redondo asked, "Are y'all leaving this up?" Yeah, I plan on leaving this up. So if you have to go, feel free. It will be up. It should be up tomorrow. Um, where was I though? God damn it! I
I
forgot.
talk about old folks.
Oh yes, and that's another thing. People talk about. I don't hear about it much here lately, but a lot of people, gave the boomers hell, which a lot of it is absolutely deserved. Truly, the
I mean,
boomers
to
they
me,
had it.
they're
Go
just a
ahead.
product of their environment, man. They
They
didn't
really
know any
are.
more than anybody else. They were subverted even harder than a lot of people because from the moment they were born, like they were pushed all this fucking Vietnam shit and drugs and everything, and
Oh
like this
yeah,
whole idea of rebellion against the system, like it's cool, we're gonna rise up, man, we're gonna make change, blah blah blah, and everything was so positive and uplifting, and everyone was going in the same direction. They all got
yeah,
carried away on this wave, and then it crashed, and then they realized like everything's fucked, and they tried to backpedal by going like hyper conservative and like buying into a bunch of bullshit, and it was just all part of the game, man. Too
yeah,
few of them like had the resources to even know the truth and like awaken. You know, we got lucky, man. We got the internet, and the shit was able to spread. Like if it weren't for that, the message may not have ever gotten out there.
yeah. That is true. I often wonder what like guys like William Luther Pierce and hell George Lincoln Rockwell and others. I often wonder what they would thought about how things are today. You know,
Oh
um,
man. Oh man.
uh, Hugo the Pork Eater asked, "Does Whocifer have a channel? Do you got a channel, Whocifer?"
Whosifer does not have a channel, but I do kind of lurk in several chats like Southern Nordics on Telegram, John Fashcroft's on Telegram. I think I'm still in Dingoes and a couple other places, but I mean, you can DM me on Telegram. I think I may have a group that I used to have set up. I'd have to find there's. In fact, while
I was
you
about to
go on
say,
your next rant, I'll look some stuff up, see if I can't find something where like maybe people who are interested want to talk or something.
oh yeah, yeah, that'd be cool. Um,
I appreciate that guy reaching out. What was his name?
Hugo the Pork Eater. I've
Cool.
he's watched my videos for a while. Earl Pipe, how you doing, Earl? Glad to see you here. Um, and it's like going back to talking to elderly people. I think we should. Boomers get a lot of hell. Older generation gets a lot of hell. But I think we need to talk to those people. Some the ones that Thankfully, I live in a fairly conservative area. A lot of the people here, the older people here at least, they may just be your, they voted for Trump. They may just be your typical conservative, but they're people they're part of your community. I look at it as this: conservatism itself is, it's in some ways a more destructive movement because it channels off a lot of good energy into something that is, you know,
It's stagnant. It's
it's stagnant.
decay.
It's
It,
it's
it's this
flaccid.
fucking
It's weak.
festering. Yeah, it's like a fucking wound that just won't heal and is infected. Like it's
Just festers.
disgusting.
Yeah, it
That's
crawls.
what it is because it doesn't ever like turn back the tide. It never reclaims any ground. It only slowly goes into like the rotten decay that the left is charging towards. It just
Yes.
slows people down just enough to make it bearable and make them not notice it, so they can turn on their TVs or play on their fucking games and pretend it ain't happening.
Oh yeah. There's an older guy. He's 82 years old that I take stuff to his house sometimes down in Georgia. And whenever I see him, I always, I usually take about 5 minutes just to sit there and talk to him and stuff. And we talked about, the state of the world and stuff. And I remember one of the first times I started, actually conversating with him, probably about a year and a half ago, we were talking about, the state of the country. And, he's just your typical conservative man. And then we even touched upon, the Chosenites and stuff, and I
Oh
mean
yeah.
he unfortunately labors under the typical conservative delusion
Oh
once a
yeah.
year
Israel's our greatest ally,
that they're God's chosen people and we need to support them.
and we
And
need
I
to
mean
worship them and give them our
I
lives, our
didn't
money.
yeah, I didn't really push back because he was like, man, what's happening is, I mean, a lot of these conservatives, they see the results of a lot of what's going wrong.
Right. They
He
just
was
blame it
talking
on
about
Democrats.
he said, America is going to end up a caliphate or, like Latin America with all the immigrants and stuff, but they just don't see, what's behind it all, of course.
It's like they got the puzzle right, and we've got the puzzle put together, and then we look over and see them. It's like, why ain't you got it put together? They're like, well, I'm looking at the box here, and I know like how it's supposed to look, but you know what I'm saying? Like they just don't know how to fit it all together.
Yeah, they're just missing out. Um, but I mean, I think we should try to talk to these people. I mean, you don't even have to like talk about political things. Get to know if you have neighbors, just extend a hand of friendship, and um, get get to know them because you never know when shit could hit the fan, and it would be better to know your neighbor's name, and possibly be able to work with them,
One
in
hundred
case
percent,
things
man.
was to
One
hit the
hundred
fan.
percent. Because who else you going to rely on when shit goes down? I mean, the people you're in the closest proximity to.
Yeah, exactly.
But I will say that I don't think that when you talk to boomers that there is any value whatsoever. And it's a complete waste of time talking to boomers if you're trying to change their mind or
Oh
open
yeah,
them up
that's
to JQ. It's an
exactly.
exercise of futility. But if you want to talk to them and learn from them what they know, because they do know a
They
lot, they
do
do
have
see a lot of
wisdom.
life.
Exactly.
They can help you out, man. If you're doing that and you're just showing them some compassion or some like friendship or something that old people unfortunately don't get a lot of, especially
You're
in our
you're
day with people shitting on boomers. Like,
you're damn right about that, man. A lot of elderly people, man. I feel a lot of sympathy for them. What if
oh man, me too.
if they have kids, their kids live halfway across the country, or hell, even in some cases, if their kids or grandkids, I mean, hell, I've heard stories, grandkids of robbing their grandparents of money for this or that. I mean,
Right.
there's
Or
not a
they
lot.
put them in the nursing home and then they never call
Oh
them, they
God,
never visit, and then they're just waiting on them to die so they
neglect.
collect some money, and then
Exactly.
oh, it's horrifying, dude. And those poor fucking people, a lot of them get like brutalized or
Yeah.
messed with or raped and all kinds of horrible shit because they're old and senile and people ain't going to believe them and who they tell anyway because their kids don't
Yeah.
fucking care. It's
Oh hell,
disgusting, dude.
it's
It's
it's like
disgusting.
it's like them extremely enraging videos that I've seen on Telegram here and there about
Yep.
white old folks in nursing homes getting abused. I mean, it's so awful,
Right.
inhumane by black CNAs and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
just getting slapped, beaten. I mean, and it's just like, man, these people, these people
It's
are
crazy.
true.
The fucking animals are taking care of the zoo and the zookeeper's behind bars.
Exactly. And the zookeepers basically,
Too
uh,
weak and feeble to defend themselves.
exactly. That's the best way to sum it up. Best way to sum it up. Oh, let's see. We've been going for almost an hour now, Whocifer. Is there anything else you would like to talk about regarding the optics, the sort of debate? Anything else to get your
Uh,
perspective? Anything else at all,
well, are you okay with me broaching another subject? Because I had
dude?
something.
Yeah,
Huh? Okay.
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Well, what I was going to say, man, going back to what I was talking about earlier when I was saying I was depressed and lonely and stuff, and
Yeah,
everything around me was just darkness because everybody was just there's just shit everywhere and everybody wanted to complain, but nobody wanted to do anything. And that's all I seen. And there were some good people that I cared about and I respect and stuff that would fall into this too. And hell, I would do it at times. But I finally woke up one day and just was like, I'm not taking this anymore. I'm jumping on the first ship that comes by in terms of like doing something positive.
yeah,
So I did the White Lives Matter thing the first time it came around, and I'm no like big believer in movementarianism. I don't even really care all that much for White Lives Matter, how they do things or whatever. But it was something to do, right? And
yeah,
by doing it, I met people, and that I met one guy that I started hanging out with, and we started working out and doing stuff, and it was great, man. Like I felt like I had a purpose again, like felt
yes.
like I was building something, going towards a goal, like we're gonna make waves, we're gonna save the day, and all that stuff, right? Like at least that's how I wanted to think and stuff. I was changing my body and my health, like everything was getting better. My outlook was getting better, and then I
Yeah,
started meeting more and more people, and then I found out like there's actually a lot more people doing IRL stuff and a lot more people trying to get into it than I would have ever imagined sitting online. While I was sitting online all the time, there was no way to know because these people out there actually doing things, a lot of them don't have time to sit online all day and talk, or
Exactly.
they only talk to a select small group of friends or something, or they're not making massive waves with big political groups or massive rallies and stuff. They're people out there just trying to improve the communities every day and trying to like form little groups of like like-minded folk who want to take care of each other and go the same route in life, and there's so many of us out there. Like I was shocked, man, like way more than I'd ever believed, and all I had to do was get offline and actually start making moves, like start putting myself out there. Like it's kind of like a little bit nerve wracking, because you don't know who you can trust and stuff, and
Oh
like
yeah.
never know like what's waiting around the corner. But I just fucking jumped in head first and was just like, you know what, I'm smart enough to know like if this dude's a Fed. When I went and met up with him, we went on a hike the first time, and I went all masked up and shit like that, and this dude was just like standing there all normal. And I was like, oh, well, this guy doesn't seem like much, and he really wasn't. But he had a goal and a purpose in mind, and like passed that on to me, and so like I took that up, and now like I'm trying to pass it on to other people, even though me and that dude aren't cool anymore. Like, and that's a whole nother story, and this is
Yeah.
actually kind of a tale for of caution, or a cautionary tale for like meeting people, because he was cool, he was a good dude. I've got nothing bad to say against him in terms of the ideology and the way he did things, and wanted the direction he wanted to go. But the dude just and I'm not even going to get into it, but just suffice to say, like
This.
everything wasn't all there, right?
Yeah.
And some people can't handle stress sometimes, and can't
Yeah.
handle this kind of life, right? And maybe he was one of them, because dude flipped. But anyway, the whole point is that by meeting him, I ended up meeting other people, and now, right now, at this moment, I've got a group of three other guys, and I know that's not a lot, but I've got
Hey,
three other
that's.
guys that are super committed now, like really seriously committed, and we have like formed our group and solidified everything. In fact, we just had a meeting tonight where like we solidified everything in terms of like what we believe, what the direction we're going, how we want to achieve what we want to achieve. And then I've got another buddy I've red pilled. I'm actually at his house now, and he's real fucking cool. I'm hoping like soon we'll be able to get him on board. And then there's some other people that the other guys know, and hopefully we can turn this into something, man. And like, I also wanted John to come on tonight because I wanted to know his thoughts on what I had to say. And he's seen the NJP thing in person, right? And
Yeah.
so I wanted to know, like, if you talk to any of the guys and how they might look at what I've said tonight. And I wonder how much of it lines up. And uh, like if we're not, like, if we're working in for the towards the same goal in the same kind of way, you know what I'm saying? I'd like to
Yeah.
know areas where I might could critique what we're doing, or tweak it in some ways to make it better, or maybe even give them some advice. As little as I know, hell, maybe something I know could possibly like help them out in some way. Like, just because it takes everybody, man. And that's honestly how I got to the conclusions I did that made me want to come on this stream, man. Was because I heard a little bit from everybody. Like my buddy I was just telling you about, that we're not cool no more. Uh,
Yeah.
he read a lot, a whole bunch, right? And he knew like all the books by fucking Goebbels and Adolf and fucking Cadrano, and like you name it, he fucking read
He was well versed in
it. Exactly,
the
like
literature.
exactly. And he would tell me all the time about, especially, and I took a lot of interest in this, Joseph Goebbels' diaries, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the things that man said ring true today. And it's funny because he would come to me all the time talking about, I just read this from this book, and they're talking about a situation that we literally just went through and talked about the ins and outs of, that other people are bitching about and like going the wrong direction on. Like, all you have to do to know the direction to go in the future is look at the past. These people already went through everything we're going through. Like, things are a little bit different, but the same core things are happening. The same like waves are being
Process.
made, right? Like it's all happening in similar ways. And if we don't learn from the lessons of the past and take the right steps that they did and avoid the mistakes that they made, we are not going to even achieve what they did, right?
Yeah.
And one of the big things they talked about was optics, and a lot of the stuff that my buddy was showing me was stuff about Goebbels and Hitler and stuff, and how they would talk about these people who would try to play this game like America First does, and how it was always just a sham. It was always weak, and people didn't like it. People didn't gravitate towards it, and people didn't buy it because they seen it for what it was. It was false. You know, it was
Yeah.
not. There was no truth to it. There's no. It was not genuine in any way. And we as a people, I honestly believe, can sense that on a deeper level. Like we can be fooled very easily, but when you hear the ring of truth, you really know you heard it, right? And
Yeah.
so when that rings true to people, and that's why I'm not one of these people who's all like, yeah, we need to not talk about the Jews, or we need to not talk about the Holocaust stuff. No, we need to tell the truth, because the truth rings truer than anything, and that's what really attracts people. Because if we're not going to be bold, if we're not going to attract the people who are bold and serious and fervent and really want this shit to happen, it's not going to happen anyway. We're not going to get it with a bunch of fucking half-ass pussies who don't give a fuck, and they're only on the fucking train because it's the cool thing to do, or because they get to say like racial words. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
fuck that. I went off a little tangent there, but
Oh no, man.
you see what I'm saying though? Is like there's little
Enjoy it.
bits that of everybody that has said something that kind of like led me to this conclusion,
Yeah.
because the stuff from the past, learning from that, knowing that there are certain ways that people are trying to go about that are just plain wrong, and they
Yeah.
don't see it because they feel like they're the first ones to come up with it, or they feel like they could be the next fucking grifter, like fucking, I don't know, Martinez or some shit, right? Like some motherfucker that just likes to pick fights to get money to divide people. I think people like that are bad actors, and I don't trust them at all. I think
Yeah.
that the people who are real are the people that are actually doing things for one, and then working towards unity for another. Like, but anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
Oh no.
ramble.
This is good stuff, man. I like to talk about these things. Um, what I was going to say was, you know, you said you were you got up with the White Lives Matter guys.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah,
uh, I don't know a whole lot about that group. Is are they? I've seen some of their stuff. They do like banner drops and whatnot.
yeah.
Um,
I've gone
is
on a
that is
few of
that
those.
mainly their mo, their modus
They're
operandi?
they're movementarians or movementarians. They want to do the whole picket thing where they hold the signs, they hold the banners, they drop the banners, they pass out the flyers, they
Yeah,
shout the words at the passersby, they hold the signs, and they
yeah,
they do that whole bit, right?
yeah.
And that's not what I'm about. But the reason why I jumped on it was,
It was a
like
way to meet people.
exactly, I had to do something. And I'll tell you what, this is something else. I don't care if they dislike this or whatever, because um, I'm not 100% with everything they're trying to do anyway. I just think that it's a good thing that I can do that
See,
isn't hurting us, right? Like it's
yeah.
still, to me, in my mind, like it's not a negative, right? Because I'm not going to do nothing stupid out there to get put in jail or waste my time and energy. Like I'm not doing anything like massive that I can't go out and meet people, because 90% of all the people that I've met at every single one of these events, they've all been our guys, every single one
Yeah,
of them, just about, and it's crazy.
that's cool. I've said before, some people will definitely disagree with me on this. I'm not a movementarian. I am honestly weird, leery. Leery is the correct word, right, Whocifer?
Yes, it
You
is.
you've gotten on to me this over this before, but I can't help it. I am leery of
Hey,
large.
the
Oh, go
the
ahead.
other the other word you were looking for is wary.
Wary, and I say weary.
Yeah, weary is when you're tired. Wary is when you're alert and suspicious.
Yeah, you know, I'm I you know I think we
I'm
all
with
have a
you.
part. I think we all have a part to play in this, and but for myself, I can't help but feel a lot of these, at least the large ones. You have to operate. If it's a large group, there's going to be bad actors or informants in it. It's just the law of averages. I mean, but a smaller group, I'm more about informally meeting people, but I understand. And,
Same.
that's something, you know, um,
I usually just get numbers and shit, and then go meet them later. Like I'll say a
yeah,
few words to them or something, but
yeah,
then I'll be
that's
like,
the
hey, let's
smart
go
play.
hike or something
I
like
think,
that. And then
I think that's the smart play, I mean, we've seen a lot of. I mean, hell, it was just a few months ago that big docs or leak,
yeah,
whatever happened
Patriot
with the
Front deal.
Patriot Front. Yeah, you were the one that first told me about that,
Oh,
and I
was
mean,
I? Yeah.
yeah, you were the one that broke that. You're who I heard it from first, and
Well, a buddy of mine that used to be in it was telling me about it. I was like, holy shit.
dude, that's and I mean, I think these groups are good for like you said, meeting people. You know, that's important. Um, but I hate to say it, I'm kind of, I don't have a lot of. I don't know, man. I don't think.
Well, let
Go
me
ahead.
jump in because I think I can peg down what you're saying or trying to
Yeah,
say anyway.
yeah.
The Patriot Front's problem, in my opinion, was that they tried to do the movementarian bit, and the movementarian bit isn't what works. What they should have done is honestly, and I know this sounds kind of pretentious coming from me since I just sat here on a whole stream and was talking about it and shit, and what do I know Patriot Front? But anyway, the thing is that I feel like if they had gone out and done community service and stuff,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
if they tried to build their communities instead of like fucking practicing hitting each other with shields and waving banners and shit and trying to make a statement for themselves and draw a bunch of heat for marching on the Capitol and looking like a bunch of fucking racists to the worlds, and like I to me it was a good thing, like they were bold enough and stood up and did something, and I do respect that. I really do. I respect their energy and their passion and what they
Yeah.
wanted to do. But what I don't think they went about. I respect them, but I don't think they went about what they should have done. If they had gone and done the community bit, like improving our reputation, that is what is suffering right
See.
now. Showing everybody we're good, decent people and we care about things. Because all anyone sees is a bunch of genocidal maniacs.
Yeah. That's something. And my buddy Pat, he's got that. He's got a. Well, it's a debate and interview stream called the Killing Fields, and they actually him and Cultured Thug actually got Thomas Rousseau on. I guess it was about a week after the leak happened.
Oh wow.
I
What
will
did he say?
say, a lot of the same sort of typical stuff. I will give that guy credit. For at least coming on. And trying to talk about things, figure it out. But that's something that Pat has mentioned before, and he brought it up to Thomas during that stream. A lot of these groups, if they would, they need to do. I think public facing groups. You can do the banner drops, you can focus on the activism, but I think something that is overlooked and it has a ton of potential for these public facing groups is to go in and do charitable work, do
Right,
community service.
right.
You know,
It's like I said before. Everyone's trying to play this LARP bit where they're preparing so hard for the collapse that they're not even trying to save anything we have right now. And I feel like those two things should be inverted. I think that we should be working as hard as we can to preserve what we have and build what they've torn down, and then also on the back burner be training and getting ready just in case, because it would be a lot better, more peaceful route where
yeah,
we preserve a lot more of our people and save a lot more of the things that we have if we went about things that way, as opposed to letting everything melt down and be destroyed. And to be honest with you, like everyone kind of sees this idea, this fantasy of like us in this vacuum against the state in America. It's not how it's going to be, bro. There's China, there's Russia, there's all these other fucking countries
yeah,
that
these
hate us
other
and want us
powers.
dead. You think that as soon as the fucking collapse happens, these motherfuckers aren't going to like be fucking wolves and vultures like coming down in our
Oh yeah.
court? You know,
I mean
and
honestly,
and without any organization or anything, and with us fighting ourselves, we're dead. We're all fucking dead.
yeah.
And go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. I was going to say, I think that's already happening as we speak. I think there is, some other countries like, that, I mean, it's a play that is, it's a really
Yep.
old political play.
Yep.
If you have, I mean, this has probably went on for centuries, maybe millennia, even perhaps. If you see your rival empire and you see that there's groups or factions within that empire that's causing trouble, you will try to fund them. You will try to incite them, to cause trouble. And
Yep.
I mean, this is I think it's undeniable that this sort of thing is happening today.
Right.
Um, but
100%.
I think a lot of these public facing groups, if there was any, and I think I'm going to try to reach out to this guy that has, I've talked to him a little bit before, but they've got a small group called Sons of Appalachia.
Oh, that sounds
And
cool. I think I met one of those guys at the last White Lives Matter thing I went to.
yeah, I might try to get him on this stream sometime here in the future.
Cool.
I might try to reach out to him here in the next few days and be like, hey, would you like to come on? But you know, these public facing groups, something, if they came up to some of the poor white haulers up here in Appalachia, they would get if Patriot Front was to come up in some of these haulers, do some food drive, do some clothing drives, do some community building stuff, they would,
They'd be
I
so
think,
grateful, dude, and they would join arms like
dude,
so
they would,
quick.
they
I
would.
know. I know. I grew up out there, bro. I know how it is.
Yeah, yeah, you did. Absolutely. And if these groups, I think they neglect, a lot of these sort of ideas, these things that could be done that could really, I think the groups would be impressed with, just how much support they would receive
A
from
hundred
these
percent,
people.
dude. 100%. And I think a lot of that is uh, the bad leadership of Thomas Rousseau, right? Like, say what you will about anybody about Patriot Front or anything like that, but from everything that I've heard, because I know several guys that used to be in Patriot Front, and every single one of them has said that they personally had beef with Rousseau, that he came after them for stupid, petty shit. And he was like
Really?
this fucking, yeah, he was a fucking dick and he was trying to micromanage everybody and all this other shit. So I don't have a high opinion of Thomas Rousseau, right? I thought
Okay.
his speech was good when he did the march on DC, and I will give him whatever respect he has earned for his achievements because he has done some things, right? But what I will say is that I don't like the man personally because of the way he has done his leadership style from what I know from the people that I know about, Patriot Front. And,
Yeah.
if he wasn't on this kick of this like pseudo militaristic, like show of force, he even used that terminology with DC, right? It was a show of force. We don't have any force to be showing, right? What we need to be
Yeah.
doing is building a force to reckon with, right? And if we would do these good things, we would have it instead of fucking doing this whole fucking LARP. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And another avenue that I think would be worth some of these public facing groups to look into is, some sort of perhaps putting together some type of cultural festivals, like cultural
Yeah,
history,
that's an
cultural.
excellent idea, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like, and it could be regional. Some of these groups, like,
Dude, that's a
yeah,
Matt. Oh, dude, that's such a good idea. I hadn't even thought of that or had
I
anybody
mean, like
else
a
say it. That's
yeah,
great.
like a seasonal festival type thing.
Hell yeah, dude.
Hell, if you want to come up here to Appalachia, you
Yes, I
know,
always love going back home.
come up here to Appalachia, and we'll have us, some sort of festival. I know in my hometown there's the Rhododendron Festival. It happens every June because my
Oh
little
hell, dox
hometown.
yourself.
Hell, people a lot of people probably. I've not been too reserved with that, but
Right. I'm
you
sorry.
know,
Anyway.
oh no, you're good. In Irwin, Tennessee, which is a town not too far from there, they have the Apple Festival. In Banner Elk, North Carolina, just across the state line, they have the Woolly Worm Festival every
The
spring.
Woolly Worm Festival? That sounds awesome, dude.
Dude, they have
Is
woolly. It's pretty
it
cool.
really for woolly worms?
Yeah, it's real woolly. They have woolly worms and they race them, and it's
No
like it's
way.
dude, it's this huge festival.
No
It's this
way.
yeah, they like and you know
I
how
got to
the
see this.
yeah, just look it up
No,
whenever you
I got to
get
see it. I got to see it. See it.
oh, oh yeah,
You
we
have
need to go
sold
there.
me. All you had to do is
Yeah,
say
and see,
woolly worm race, and I'm done.
yeah,
I'm going.
it's pretty interesting stuff. And I mean we could have I mean it's the possibilities are really endless. Get the families out, get them together, and we could have it could be understood. That we have this sort of uh, political message, and
Yeah, this undertone of what we believe.
love of kith and kin, and
Yeah,
it's not all going to be political. It's that we understand that's what the main goal is, but we need to there's the cultural, and then there's the spiritual aspect to the
right.
struggle.
Right, and you're really hitting on something there, bro. Because the political is just the vehicle for the change. What we have is a crisis of like racial soul, like a crisis of conscience, and all these other things. A loss of who we are, right? And
Yes.
we need to return to that, and that will be a foundational uh, place on which we can launch the necessary vehicle for change that will allow that to continue and grow and turn into something of value and not fucking fall into waste and degradation and the rot and decay of this society
Oh
that
yeah.
hates us with every fiber of its being.
Yeah. And I mean you know uh that's kind of why I think there's just a lot of avenues that we haven't explored. There's a lot of things that we could be doing that hasn't been tried. I think we're up against, you know, our enemy is extremely. Let's see, you boys heard of? Let's see. Yes, I have heard of. Is it Ozarkia or I don't know if that was a tie.
Ozarkis? I don't know.
I know of. I do know of that thing. Yeah,
Hey,
it's
But,
Ozarkia.
but real quick, I want to build on what you're saying. You just said like there's so many things we haven't thought of, and you also hit upon the answer to that too, and it ties into what I was saying, and it's that this positivity, man. When we actually open ourselves up to doing good and trying to build instead of like being negative and full of hate and resentment and like just wanting blood, like we're closing ourselves off to possibilities. Like when we start sitting here thinking about positive stuff, you already came up with an awesome idea I hadn't even thought of, and I've come up with a couple of things that other people haven't. And I'm meeting all kinds of people that have good ideas. It's like good ideas are coming in left and right, but they weren't ever coming in when everybody was black pilled and focusing on like we got to survive. You know what I mean? Like we
Yeah,
need to live. We need to live.
yeah, absolutely. We can't. You know, and that's another thing too. Also, I was going to say, the whole cultural thing. That's not something that I've just came up with. I've heard Pat and some other guys say it
Well, hell,
before.
even
He
so
knows.
though,
He knows. I
just
mean,
just sharing, just being around positive people who are also doing positive things, man. Like that shit wouldn't have come about if somebody was sitting around thinking, "Oh, I better go do my terror or something like that." Like
yeah,
that's going to really change things. No, like if we actually like work together like we should, and if we practice these things we believe, and we stay positive and try to build instead of tear down, the possibilities are endless.
yeah,
That's something else that the enemy doesn't have. They don't have the ability to build. They only have the ability to subvert what has already been built.
yeah. That's a good point. But yeah, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but yes, I have heard of Ozarkia before, that project that they have going. I think it's that Western Masculine, I believe is his name. Um,
What is that?
it's I know it's a Telegram channel. Um,
Western masculine? Yeah, I've heard of it, but
Ozarkia.
what is it?
Uh, it's just I'm
Is
not
it like a
really.
Pacific Northwest kind of deal? Everybody go here and
Yeah,
move there.
except it's for the Ozark Mountains.
Right,
It's a regional thing.
right.
It's pretty interesting. I don't know if they're associated with Billy Roper or not, but I think they take some of his ideas. But yeah, I think I'm all about these different regional sort of ideas. What Ozarkia has going on, that would be something cool that I would like to see for Appalachia, and then
Oh yeah,
there's the Northwest Imperative. There's all these different. I'm interested in those things. Um,
I am too. And I'll tell you what, man. Me and my boss, he's also red pilled. He's a good dude. He
oh
actually knows
yeah,
Patrick Little personally, and David Duke and all kinds of shit. He was in Charlottesville. He was his face was on the front cover of the fucking newspaper holding the pizza torch and shit. He's a good
yeah,
dude. But anyway, so this guy and me got to talking, and he was telling me about the Pacific Northwest thing. I forgot what the Harold Covington's, his whole deal with the Pacific Northwest, and like everybody just need to move out there, and we just need to build the thing.
yeah,
And he was like, if we just did that, we'd have this one tonight. We'd have it one right now if everybody just came here and we did this. And I'm like, man, that's awesome, but the reason why that shit don't work, at least not for like everybody to go to one place from all around the country, is that people have history, man. Like, I've got the family farm here, and you've got your family farm, and we've got places where, generations of our family have toiled over the land and, bled, sweat, and cried and all that stuff, right? Like we're tied here in a lot of ways. And so like it sounds like a good idea. Maybe as last resort at something, but I
yeah.
don't know about you, but I want to save everywhere that's ours. It's ours, damn it. You know what I mean? And I ain't gonna let them fucking take it.
No, hell no. Oh, I'm trying to reply to my friend here.
I'm
Um,
sorry for hogging the conversation there.
oh no, dude, I've been tickled to death to have you. Didymus Sumi did says, "Can't imagine leaving my clay." That's exactly how I feel. I can't imagine leaving Appalachia. I've only lived outside of Appalachia, or at least East Tennessee, uh, at one point in my life. Back, it was probably about a year or so back in about 12, 13 years ago. I lived in southeast Louisiana for a little while. I liked it down there. I lived,
How was
uh,
it?
dude, it was great, man. I mean, I worked at an oil refinery back then. I worked construction.
Oh man, how was that?
Dude, it was excellent. I mean, I made really, really good money. Um, I took a year off from college to go down there.
Oh yeah.
I lived, uh, I lived with a family that I grew up with,
Oh
and
really?
yeah, their father had worked in the oil, pipe fitting and stuff for forever. And
Okay.
his sons got me the job down. Dude, we lived in a nice little house. We had the bayou was literally we had a dock in our backyard, a couple of
What?
fishing boats.
Oh
Dude,
man.
I mean, it was great down there. It's I got to admit, it was a little hot. I didn't like it in the summer as much. I love to
Yeah,
fish. I mean, it's hotter than hell down there, but
I
you know,
bet.
I can appreciate other areas. But home's home. I mean,
Yeah,
I,
there
I
ain't no
can't
place like
imagine.
home.
I can't imagine living anywhere else. Um,
Yeah,
uh,
I miss it every day, bro.
Let me see. I'm sorry. I'm tired.
Oh, real quick, a thought occurred to me earlier today while I was driving around, and I don't really know why I thought it. Well, actually, kind of. It had something to do with the with online personality cult types, and it was like never follow a man who's unwilling to lead. Like if you're following someone who's not leading the charge, it's like you're a sheep and you're being bit at or nipped at the ankles by wolves behind you, sending you to the slaughter or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and that's the difference of a lot of these leaders, man. Because all the people that I've seen, they're lead from the rear types.
Yeah.
And if we're going to have a hero to be our leader, he's got to be on the front lines, man. Like he's got to be
Oh
somebody
yeah.
in the trenches doing the thing. Can't be some fucking fat ass sitting on his fucking back and like giving orders people to fucking storm the Capitol and stupid shit like that and getting away scot free on his own.
Oh yeah. You know, I look at it like this too. I'm not trying to, cast shade or criticize or anything, but sometimes I think that perhaps some of the leaders that are presented to us in this whole thing, I don't know, in some ways, I don't know if some of them's done anything that, has granted them their position of, quote unquote authority. What I was going to say though is I think in some cases it might be this sort of artificial hierarchy that is imposed on us to govern us. But if you know anything about hierarchy, a natural hierarchy always will always destroy an artificial hierarchy, and it ties in with what you just said there.
Hell
An
yeah.
leading from the back, it's kind of an artificial hierarchy, unless those people. I mean, you look at that Austrian artist, he
Right.
World War One, served valiantly, and received these medals. He volunteered for very extremely dangerous messaging missions.
Right.
And I mean that's one of the reasons why he was such a good leader is because the people remembered what he gave, what he did.
Right.
Leading by example.
Yep.
And I
Putting
think
your life at equal risk with everyone else.
exactly, exactly. Um, anyways, let's see. We've been going for about an hour and a half, Whocifer. Is there anything else at all you would like to speak on while we're here? Anything else at all?
Man, I could probably speak on a thing or two, but to be honest with you, man, I think this is a pretty good show. What do you think?
I think it's pretty good, man.
You want
I've
to go
really.
longer? Or are you good?
I mean, if you want to throw a couple more ideas out there, let's have
No,
it.
no. Are you wanting to?
I'm happy either way. I was going to say if you didn't have anything else you wanted to throw out, maybe we could take some questions from the chat, or if you got a couple other ideas you want to put out there,
No, I
go
tell you
ahead.
what, man. I like that idea of taking stuff from the chat, man. I do kind of want to hear what people are saying because I wasn't able to look at it this time.
Okay.
If you're
All
cool,
right. Anybody here in the chat got any questions for Whocifer or myself?
or want to just yell at me and say I'm a terrible person who's retarded and I should never talk again.
No, man, you're the feedback has been very positive, Whocifer.
Oh man, that's awesome.
I've been sitting here watching it.
Well, thanks everybody.
Um, yeah, hell, you ought to get your own channel on here, man.
Hell,
Be
I'd
pretty
like
cool.
to, but I just ain't got the setup for it.
I understand it.
That's why I poach everybody else's.
Hell, you do what is required. You do what's
That's right.
required.
That's right.
Um, let's see. Is there anything else? I'll see if anyone brings any questions up. What was I gonna say? It was something I was wanting to run by you. I was thinking about fuck. Damn man.
Well, um,
Let's see. What? Okay, something current events. What would you like to? What do you think about the repealing of Roe versus Wade? I don't really like talking about current events, but what's your? I'm just throwing something out there. What do you think
man,
about it, Lucifer?
to be honest with you, I don't know nothing about what's actually going on. I saw something like mentioned yesterday, I think, and I looked it up, and I didn't see a lot of information on it, but it looked to me like they weren't actually overturning it yet or something. So to me,
Yeah,
it's
it
not
was like a
news. I don't
leak. I
know.
believe it was a leak. Um, I don't. I
I'm just
think
all
it's.
confused by it because to me, it just seems like a nothing burger.
I mean, that's kind of how I feel about it. I think that what they're talking about doing is leaving it up to states' rights. The state, the people of each state and their representatives, they can vote on whether
Right.
to allow abortion or whatever.
The way the country should have been anyway.
Yeah, I don't think I did see this interesting graph. Uh, I did see this interesting graph posted by a guy named American Krogan, and it was talking about how if the states that will likely ban abortion, which are mostly southern red states,
Yep.
and also next to that. map was also
It'll
the
save a bunch of black
African.
kids.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I saw the same stuff, and that's exactly what it got me thinking about. Was like, this probably is really just a clever like ploy to raise the black birth rate.
Yeah. Okay. We've got a couple of questions here. Did you ever, Didymus asks me, did you ever ask BB9 about an Appalachia stream? Yes. Yes, we've talked about it. I haven't gotten to talk to him in about, it's probably been about 9 or 10 days since I last spoke to him, but I need to talk to him and get him on here. He said he would be happy to come on, and uh, hopefully me and Pat can do that here in the future. We here in the future we're wanting to start a show called The Front Porch. And Didymus,
Ooh, that sounds cool.
Didymus, you gave us the idea for the honorary rocking chair. If we had guests on that were from outside of Appalachia, we'll pull up the honorary rocking chair for you.
That's awesome.
Let's see. There's a couple of questions. Berlin and Mosby Erickson both asks, did you see the Northman? That Northman movie. Have you seen it, Whocifer?
No, if it's not like something on YouTube or BitChute or
Dude,
something along those kinds of lines, I ain't seen shit because I cannot
hey,
stand
hey, hey,
Hollywood. I can't stand movies.
dude.
But
That's how I feel about it. I have not seen the Northman, but
I,
listen to
I don't even
this.
know what it is. I ain't heard about it.
Oh, it's a Viking movie. It's supposed to be really good. It's not paused, from what I understand.
Man,
Hey, I was gonna.
I keep hearing this rhetoric from people saying like it's not paused or they're like they've really toned it down, but like it's still there,
It's
like
it's Hollywood. But hey, I
yeah,
was I was gonna say this, Lucifer.
yeah.
My friend Ricky Vedas last week sent me a pirated version of the movie, and I'm gonna try to watch it over the next couple of days. If you want to, I'll send it to you on Telegram.
Oh, cool. Okay,
Yeah, he,
that's,
he got me a pirated version.
why am I supposed to be interested in this movie though? Like, is it you got
Well,
to get
it's
what's the
it's
story
got
here?
it's got it's a it's not paused. It's not got a bunch of African Americans or whatever playing uh, you know Nordic people.
I
Um,
mean, hell, I don't care if it's
and it's not
fucking
got
like uh
any homosexuality from traditional gender roles. I mean that's how far the entertainment industry has fallen. You could say
right. I
is
don't care if
because
it's
we're
fucking Bruce Wayne sitting there for
I mean
fucking an
I
hour
think
and a
it's
half
got
staring at the screen. Like that's wholesome, but it may not be fucking interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
what's it about?
But anyways,
What's
another
it about
question.
though?
Oh, it's about it's like a saga. I mean I've not watched it yet, so I'm not at liberty to really say.
Oh,
It's
okay.
it's set during the Viking Age.
Well, oh, okay. For some reason, I had some other mental image when you said what the title was. That does sound cool. I love Viking
Yeah,
stuff. My bad.
yeah, it's the
I feel like a
Northman.
dick now.
No, you're good. You're good. Um, Another question, and this is a question that I'm really interested in. Vox Clementis asks us, what do you guys think about developing secret societies again in order to bring things back for us again? I am, that's something I'm extremely interested in. If you look at history, have you ever heard of the Holy Vam, Whocifer? You ever heard of
The holy what?
the Holy Vam? It's
Spell
spelled
it.
Vehm. The Holy Vam. They
No,
were.
I don't think I have.
Uh, I made a video about them probably about 3 or 4 months ago. They are. They were a secret society that was based in Westphalia or Westphalia. I'm not sure how you pronounce.
Westphalia.
Yeah, they were based in Westphalia during the Middle Ages. Westphalia was a very war. It was
Yeah.
riddled with criminality. It was a
Right.
ruthless area. Well, there was a group that came about, and they were a secret society that was started, and they called themselves the Holy Vam, or Vamgericht is the name of the law that they practiced.
Oh my.
They were a vigilante justice group,
Oh hell
and
yeah.
dude, over a few decades, they completely transformed Westphalia, cleaned it up. I'm really interested in, I know secret society. Whenever we hear secret societies, we automatically think, Freemasonry, Skull and Bones, Yale, or all these nefarious secret societies for a good reason,
I think a
because
pedo is.
that is true, you know. But I think secret societies can also be used, which I want to say this: secret societies, I think, can be subverted. The Holy Vame did a really good job for about 150 years.
All right, wait, are
They,
you saying they can be subverted to be turned bad or subverted to be turned good or both?
I think they can be subverted to turn bad. I
Yes,
don't think we're going to.
100%. I agree on that. There's plenty of evidence for that. But
I don't think it's possible to necessarily. I don't think we could, necessarily infiltrate the Freemasons, and
okay,
turn it
that's
into
what
a.
I was wondering.
I
I was
don't.
just
I don't.
making sure you weren't
I
going
mean,
that route.
yeah, I don't think it's possible. But if you look at any revolution in history, they've always been backed by some sort of, secret society. You look at what was it? Even the American Revolution. The Freemasonry was involved in it. And I don't think Freemasonry necessarily was started off, as something that was supposed to be bad. I think it was started. Europeans, or at least Western Europeans, would go around starting, some of these secret societies, and I don't think they were, they had ill intent originally, but over time, of course, I believe it's pretty apparent that they became so. But I mean, you look at any revolutionary movement in history, they've been backed by some sort of secret society. I mean, even something much more recent, the years of lead in Italy. You could say some of the fascist side was supported by the P2 Lodge, which was a Freemasonic lodge within another lodge. It's. I mean, I don't know. I think secret societies, if we could somehow maybe start, I'd be interested in starting something like that. Which, I mean, I have no idea. I have no connections. I have no power. But I think that's something that could be used to possibly, you know, get things going. A lot of people dismiss this idea, and I can understand, because when everybody thinks of secret society, they definitely think Illuminati, Freemasonry, all that faggotry. But I would recommend people to look into a group called the Holy Vam, because they did really good things. They had their own system of secrecy. And, I can't help it. I think of the future in some ways. I think we're all going to end up, the future is criminal. I hate to say it. I think white people, given the current trajectory of things, we're going to end up a minority. The writing's on the wall. And, you know, I think that we need to learn how to set up syndicates, you could say. Not necessarily criminal syndicates like you would think, but, I'm going to say this. I think the future, it wouldn't hurt to have some criminals on our side, to be honest.
Well, you got
Um,
one.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Hell, me and you both, man. We've both been there, I believe.
Right.
but let's see.
Can,
Uh,
can I answer that question too?
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I didn't mean to keep
Uh,
you going.
I don't think that it's very feasible at this juncture to suggest we create our own secret society, because what we lack, you already kind of or named it off. It was power, influence, wealth, those kinds of
Yeah.
things. That is what was behind the decisions that were made to fund these people in all these wars and things like that. Now, I do, however, think that we should be starting our own, like, uh, I guess, like Freemason style clubs or whatever, like just places where men of the community get together and like decide how things should go and do good.
They
Because,
structure it. Yeah, to
right,
provide structure, a plan of
right.
structure.
Because if you look at if you look at their tenets, you know, and did you ever watch that movie that John premiered? It was an old one from the Weimar years, and it was about uh, this Freemason dude. It actually, or no, it was made in Vichy, France, and it was
Okay.
this Freemason. It was this dude who got like coaxed into being a Freemason, and then it like exposed a bunch of their rituals and stuff, and then he starts like having second thoughts about it all, but like they keep pulling him in deeper and deeper and getting him to do more and more favors and all this other junk, and like then in the end they try to kill him and all this stuff. And what it started out was it was supposed to be something good, something positive, and that's what all the people were supposed to be doing. But the higher up you get, the more and more like it's not like that, and it's really about doing horrible shit to society, controlling things behind the scenes. Like what they do is they use this like this fucking carrot or whatever you want to call it, you know, like to lure you in, and then if you don't progress high enough on their degenerate scale, they won't allow you to know the real dirty secrets, right?
Is that like
And
a
take part in the
is,
pie.
is that
Huh?
sort of tied into the like Sabbatean Frankism? I believe is what it was. Or
Probably. I think.
I've not seen the movie that you're speaking about before,
Oh man,
but
you
I think
should, because it's very illuminating.
yeah. Um, I'd like to check that out here soon.
I'll send you
Let's
the link
see.
later.
Uh, I'm sorry, I do not know how to pronounce this guy's name.
How do you spell it?
It's it's the A and E combined.
Just say it
W
as
A
A.
Awajer Awajer. Dude,
Can you
I'm
spell it?
above bush. I'll put his quote on the here. He well, you're not watching it.
No, just say it to me.
Awa Zhere. It's two words. There's an accent mark over the A. I
I
was here. I was here is okay. He just taught.
Okay, good. Because I
You have
was
to
like,
re,
I ain't got no clue on that one.
you have to forgive me. I'm a retard. But he brings up an interesting point a few minutes ago. He said that Jesuits are low key, but they have real influence globally. That is very true. You know, and this is something that Pat has talked about before. I think I'm not advocating for Mormonism or anything like that.
Oh, thank God.
I mean, I mean, I'm more on the pagan side of things, but I really, as far as religion goes, I don't really care. But the Mormons, they knew how to operate. You know, I think we could learn some things about the Mormons and how to operate in the future. There's some Mormon groups white Mormons that have lived, in Mexico for a long time. And, there's also, he mentioned, talking about the Jesuits are low key, but they have real influence globally. There are some low key Mormon billionaires. There's a lot of wealth in that group.
Hmm.
And if somehow any of our guys could somehow appeal to some of these billionaire Mormons, I don't know if it's possible. I'm just spitballing here. I'm just throwing out ideas. But if somehow we could appeal and gain the support of some of these people, then that would be a huge help in
Well,
funding
dude,
things in the future.
do you want me to split your wig right here, like totally blow the top off everything, and
Hell
like just
yeah,
make you go, whoa?
yeah, do it.
I mean, it's kind of silly. It's not like super fucking, enlightening or something. But I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was going to give me a chance to honestly say all of my points and stuff without judging, just so she could understand where I was coming from. At least that's what she said, right? Like she couldn't help but interject and be like getting all angry when I said anything semi-racist or whatever. But she did pretty good, right? And she was supposed to like just listen, more or less, right? And then when I got done talking to her, she's an ex-Mormon, and she was like, "Everything you're telling me is Mormon doctrine." I'm like, "What?" And
Really?
she's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Well, I do know a fair amount of, people who used to be Mormon that are in this thing." And she was like, "Yeah, see." And she tried to tell me like that this is all a Mormon conspiracy, that they're like the ones behind it and trying to get everybody like tricked into Mormonism and shit. or some kind of crazy shit.
Yeah.
But
It'd be interesting, it'd be
I,
cool
I,
to.
I don't think that they're going to be of much help, though. To be honest with you,
I don't think they are either, probably, but it's something that, it's just an idea. Um,
right? It's not bad. We shouldn't just totally discount it. I'm just saying. I just think
Solar
it's like a long shot.
Solarist says this is Appalachia, not Salt Lake City. You are absolutely correct there. I
Damn
don't
right.
know. I don't know, man. Maybe we could make lots of moonshine and sell it
Hey,
to
I got a I got a
families.
couple quarts at the house. The next time you come over, we can throw down. I also got some mead.
Oh, do you? Hell yeah!
Yeah,
Hell yeah,
yeah.
man! Sit out there on the cabin, check out, listen to the creek flow
Hell
by.
yeah. You're gonna swim and jump off the waterfall there.
Oh hell yeah! I love jumping off stuff, doing some swimming. Makes you feel good.
Oh, dude,
Um,
so good.
Has anybody else got any questions? Anything else at all? Any other suggestions? Things of
Well, I'll
that
tell you
nature?
what, man. I'm down to take one more if there is one, but if not, it probably should be time for me to go because I'm at my buddy's house and
Yeah,
I'm
it's
kind of
lit.
keeping him pretty late and all that. And I still got a pretty good ways of drive home, and then I got to wind
Oh
down and
shit.
wake up in the morning and all that.
Yeah, I understand, man. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming on here.
No, no, dude.
It was great.
It's the other way around. Like, thank you so much, man. Because like I've been holding this stuff in. I've been trying to tell people. I've just been wanting to get it off my chest, because even though like most people probably aren't going to think about it or give it a second thought, right? Like maybe if there's someone that was out there that was like me when I was in a state, like a year and a half ago or so, maybe it'll help them in some way, and like maybe we can all start recorrecting ourselves and start going in a better, more positive direction that is free of the baggage of the bullshit of subversion and like co-opting nonsense that America First has tried to do, and not the grifting overcorrection of some of the fucking fantasy larpers on the other side. You know what I mean? Like I just want us to our people to live and our people to prosper, and I just don't want to see any more suffering. And I want to end this the quickest and the most or the best way possible that allows for the saving of the most white lives. I guess is the way to put it. Right?
Yes.
I mean that
Yes.
was a little bit overwinded and ridiculous,
No.
but
No, it's absolutely fine.
but
There's two quick questions. Two quick. I was here. Asked us, y'all ever seen a Sasquatch? Have you ever seen Bigfoot, Whocifer?
only on TV.
I'm in the same boat. I've only seen them on TV. I have seen. I know this probably sounds crazy, but I have seen a couple of things that I can't really explain before. I don't want to get into it
Same
right
here.
now, but I will some point in the future.
You ain't never seen a
And
Wendigo, have you?
no, I haven't. I
Oh,
have
thank
seen.
God.
I've seen a couple of things that I can't explain though before, but I'll save that for later. What have you seen one? Have you seen a
Hell
Wendigo?
no, thank God. But I'll tell you what, though, if you want to have a paranormal stream one day, I'll tell you about some of the crazy shit I've experienced, though. We can
Oh
swap
hell
stories.
yeah, hell
If you
yeah.
want to do that, just holler at me.
Oh yeah, I'd love to. And the final question we'll take is: do you believe, from Hugo the Pork Eater, do you believe there's a serious food shortage coming this year? What's your thoughts?
Man, to be honest with you, I'm just like you, bro. I ain't got no clue on the future, and every time I try to guess, I'm wrong. Like,
I understand that sentiment. I
I, I just
truly do.
I just look at everything with a very critical eye, and I just assume that everything that is ever being fed to me on the news is a lie, even if
Oh
there's some
yes.
nugget of truth to it. Like it's all fucking bullshit, and so I just operate like kind of outside the news. In fact, I
Yeah,
don't watch the news. I don't go searching for it or anything. Any news that I
absolutely.
get is strictly like stuff that happens in my peripheral. Like somebody in the gas station was talking about it and I overheard it and it was interesting to me, or like my granddad said something about it, or like my friends were talking about it, or maybe I seen something on Telegram or something. But on the whole, like I stay away from news because it's just to me
It's
it's all
negativity
bullshit. Yeah, it's the same
and
bullshit
it's
from everywhere,
conditioning.
man.
It's
Yeah,
conditioning and negativity.
that too,
Absolutely.
man. And I hate it. And I can't do it. And I just don't want it around me. And I think part of that too is a small step in changing your mind and like freeing it of the fucking chains that that bind it and
Yeah,
drag it down. Like I feel so much better in a certain way, like just not knowing about all the stupid shit going on that doesn't matter, that they're just trying to use to distract me or turn my opinion in a certain way anyway. Like I will
that's
learn the big stuff because it'll trickle down. Everything else I don't know, like the food shortage, no clue. Like what am I going to do about it? Like I can stock up a few cans or something, but we have a farm. I'm going to go build a garden or grow a garden, and I advise all of y'all that can to do the same. And if not,
yes.
find somebody who has one and
Work
like, do,
together
do everything
somehow.
you can to start that, right? Like if you're worried about it, go ahead and start putting in the work right now. Don't hesitate another second. Learn to can, all that good stuff, because it will be important should the collapse come. So,
Oh yeah.
I take everything with a grain of salt, but at the same time, like if you have concerns about it, prepare. Like it's not going to hurt you to prepare.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. All right, guys. Let's see. You got any closing remarks, Husifer? Anything
Uh,
else
I
at all
just
you'd like to say?
I just want to say one of these comments popped up on the screen here. It says Finn Wraith, the most convincing lies are the ones mixed with some truth. Amen.
Exactly right. Yeah, I'm able to. I actually just learned this feature a couple of streams ago where I could actually like show people's comments on the screen. So I've
Well,
been
it's funny. It
taking
was funny you
advantage of
said
that.
that because I didn't notice it well, I did notice it at first, but I thought it was a StreamYard thing. And so every time I seen one pop up for like the first 15 or so, I was just like, what the fuck is this? Get out of the way. And I didn't
Yeah.
even read them. And,
Oh,
and
my
it
bad.
finally occurred to me when I seen Didymus because I recognized his name and I was like, oh shit, these are comments. I should have been reading
Yeah.
them the whole time.
Oh, you're good, man. It ain't no big deal. Um, but yeah.
Hey man, it's been amazing talking to you. I
Oh
really
yeah, dude.
appreciate the
It's
chance
been
to
great, man.
to let it out and
Get your ideas out there, man.
yeah.
It's been great.
I just love talking to you, man.
I
It's
love
always
talking to
fun.
you, dude. I had a blast coming up there to visit you and at the farm. Hopefully,
Man,
we'll do
I
it
need to
again
come
here
visit
soon.
you. I need to
Yeah,
come visit
come.
you. It's my turn, so I
Hell
need to
yeah,
come down
come.
there soon.
Come down here. We got plenty of room. Stay a couple of days. We'll go fishing up on the Hiwassee River. We'll go do some swimming. I got a new hound dog. I don't know if I told you that yet.
Yeah, remember you rescued it?
Yeah, his name's Whocifer.
Both sleepers. Hell
That's what I
yeah.
named him. I
That's
found
what's up.
I found him up there on the Hiwassee River. He was about starved, man, but
Yeah,
he's
you
put
sent me
a
the pictures, poor little dude.
yeah, he's packing on the weight now though.
Good deal.
He's a pup still basically. He likes to tear shit up and raise hell basically when my back's turned. But he's a good dog. He gets along good with our other dog. They get along really good, so very
Hell yeah.
happy. But yeah, man, come down and or I'll come up, or hell, we can meet halfway. It don't matter. But he said, "Are meat rabbits worth having?" I believe they are, Berlin. I've never kept any rabbits for meat, but I know other people that do. I think they are a good thing to do. Definitely. Uh, any last thoughts, Husifer?
Um, no, man, I really appreciate it. Thanks for everybody in the chat that came and hung out and
Yeah, thank you.
listened. Like it's been great, man. Like I said before, I love talking to you, and God bless you. God bless the chat. God bless our people. 1488 Zieg Heil.
Hell yeah,
See you later.
amen. And guys, I just wanted to say, Husifer Allen Kidd said, I'll show it right here. This has been one of the best streams I've seen. Mature and realistic. Good show. We need more like this. See,
Man,
high
don't say stuff
praise.
like that because that just feeds my ego, and I already
It's going
think
to make your
highly
head
of
big,
myself.
ain't it? You're going to get the big head now.
I gotta try so hard to remain down to earth, and that's just making me float.
Well, it should. It's well earned, man. It's well deserved. But anyways, guys, I want to thank everybody that came here. Here in the near future, I've got a couple of good guests coming on, which I've had a great guest tonight. Uh, I think I'm going to have the Woodlander come on here soon. Do you know the Woodlander, Husifer? You ever seen his channel?
I don't. I ain't even heard of him. I'll check him out though. He's on
Yeah,
YouTube
yeah, he's
or
on
Telegram.
YouTube. He's an English guy. I talked to him. I think we're going to try to do a stream. It'll either we haven't set the date, but it'll be next week or the week after. He's extremely busy with his homestead there at the moment.
Oh, cool. One of those guys.
And
I
yeah,
like the Homestead bit.
Oh yeah, dude. He's got a good channel. He's a really down to earth, nice guy. Um, and then I've got a couple others coming on here in the future. I've got a friend, Daza Ray, who I'm going to get to come on, and we're going to talk about a variety of things. But that's in the future. I want to thank everybody that's here, that's came here, and remember, everybody, to love your own, take care of your own, and that this is the way. I hope y'all have a wonderful evening or morning or day, whatever part of the world you're in. And I'll talk to y'all soon. Thank y'all for watching. Bye bye.
Bye.